In this video, we are going to review company numbers. Use company numbers to define how your phone numbers or DIDs will be used in DCDial. DIDs must be configured in company numbers before they can be used as caller IDs, callback numbers, external queues, or call monitoring in the system. We will review these features later in the video. To access company numbers, click on the Administration tab, select Setup in the left side menu, and then click Company Numbers. You will see a list of all the company numbers that are currently configured in your system. Numbers must be added in the DID Manager in Inbound before they can be configured in company numbers. To learn more about the DID Manager, please see our DID Manager video or refer to the Help tab. To configure a new company number, click here. Select a company number from the drop-down menu and write a brief description. And then define what this number will be used for. A DID can be used for various purposes throughout DCDial. Depending on the functionality you assign a DID, it will be available as a selectable option in different system settings. For example, select Caller ID if you would like to use this DID as a caller ID for outbound calls or outbound texts in your campaign. Select Callback if you would like to use the DID as a number for your customers to reach you back on. Callback numbers can be dynamically inserted into text-to-speech messages, answering machine messages, SMS messages, and agent scripts. Leads can contact you using this number. Select External Queue if you would like the DID to be used for calls transferred to an external destination. For example, you can have your leads press 0 to be connected to an agent, and this DID can be the external number that the call is routed to. Finally, select Call Monitoring if you would like to use this DID to monitor live agent calls. If you choose to monitor, barge, or listen in on a call, DCDial will call this DID to connect you with the live agent call. When you have configured your company number, click Create. From the Company Numbers page, you can also create regional caller ID lists. Regional caller ID lists allow you to display a unique caller ID for each state that you are dialing. This way, you can display a local caller ID to your leads based on the state you are calling. To create a new regional caller ID list, click here. Enter a name for your list and a brief description, and select a DID to begin building your list. The system will automatically detect the state that the DID belongs to and use this DID for calls to that state. However, if you wish to override the assigned state, click Override and select a state from the drop-down menu. Then click Create. From the Modify page, you can add more numbers to your regional CID list. To add a single DID for regional dialing, click Add CID. Select a phone number and click Submit. To add multiple DIDs at once, click Bulk Add. Choose the DIDs you would like to add to your regional caller ID list and click Submit. Here you can assign a default regional caller ID. Click the shield icon to assign the default. If you dial a state with no assigned caller ID, DCDial will use the default as the caller ID for that state. For example, if you're calling a lead in Alabama, but you have no DIDs assigned to the state of Alabama, DCDial will use the default DID selected. To completely randomize caller ID, enable Random Caller ID by clicking on the shield icon to activate. Enabling this option will ignore state-specific caller ID and randomly select any number in the list as a caller ID for your outbound calls or texts. Random CID is useful to ensure that leads do not receive too many calls from the same phone number. You can associate regional caller ID lists to a campaign from the Campaign Modify page or from the dashboard. You are now ready to configure your company numbers.